Gene Simmons' wife randomly just said to me, he's like, "You look really sexy if you shaved your head." I remember going on vacation with my wife. The entire time we were gone, like my phone was just blowing up with like, "You have a new subscriber, you have a new subscriber." And I was like, how is this, what's happening right now? Like, it sounds kind of weird to say, but it's like almost a fear of success. I just love listening to music. So now I get to do it all day and get paid for it.
That was Mike Indovina. He started as a drummer chasing rock star dreams. Today, he runs a membership helping musicians create professional recordings from home. Now, here's what's wild. Mike went from frustrating course launches to a $197 a month coaching membership where people stay not for months, but for years, some without even releasing music. Today, we're talking about the borrowed influence strategy that got him 7-cent leads while he closed his first membership to start something better, and the email from a veteran's wife that put everything in perspective. Let's dive in. Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're going to dive right in and talk about how you've taken a passion of yours, turned it into a great business that allows you to work, from wherever. We were talking about that before we got started. But before we get into it, give people a sense of the kind of work that you're doing.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Indovina, and I run a website, masteryourmix.com, where I help out rock musicians with creating professional recordings and mixes from their home studio so that they can be excited by the quality of it and feel proud and confident to release it. I really believe that there's a lot of positive impact that can be made through music, and most musicians don't know that until it's out. So I've known so many great musicians trying to record themselves, getting results that they weren't happy with and abandoning their music. So I want to just help people finish that and get it out.
So you're helping musicians mix and master their recordings to be able to share with the world.
Yep.
And making them sound better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So take me back then. How did you get into the mixing and mastering?
So I started as a drummer when I was 10. And just from that point on, like being a rock star was the goal. Right. And I was very fortunate that throughout the years, I had a couple bands that had some levels of success, getting on the radio, getting on TV, touring, national distribution deals, all that kind of stuff. But we were young. And what would happen is as people got older, responsibilities would kick in and, family and jobs and houses and blah, blah, blah. And so many of my bands would kind of just dismantle whenever those things came up. And I always felt like I was starting over again. And throughout that process, I was always interested in the tech side of things and recording, mainly as a way of just like helping my own bands. And then once one of my last bands ended, I was just having a conversation with one of my roommates, and he said, "Hey, like you're really good at what you do with the recording side of things, and you're also really good at explaining it. Anytime he had questions, I would help him out." And he had run a pretty successful guitar instructional site, and so he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about teaching this online?" And I didn't really know that was a thing, like I knew there was blogs, but I didn't really know that there was a way to monetize it. So anyway, he kind of got me like started with that and pointed me out like, you need a lead magnet, you need like sales funnels and blah, blah, blah. And so
this was all new to you.
This was completely new to me. Like I had no idea that this was
you just at that point, you just had an interest in like you're probably doing it for your band.
Yeah. Like I was just doing my band stuff, and I was always busy recording and like trying to record local bands and build up my skills. Just again, as a way of like, the better I could get, the better I could serve my own band. And then when my last band broke up, it was like, okay, well, let's just lean into the recording side.
Okay, I want to pause you right there for 1 second, because I know there's people watching and listening who, maybe they were doing something for a long time, and then all of a sudden they've had the rug pulled out from underneath them or a curveball thrown their way. Yep. And this sounds like the kind of place that you were in, where you'd build up these bands, you got some success, and all of a sudden, like a couple band members, they're getting married or having kids, or their priorities are changing, and it's just like everything's come to a screeching stop. What's going through your mind at that point? Like, is there anxiety about that?
Of course, because it's like in my mind, like there's nothing else that I wanted to do.
Right. It was like rock star.
And when things are going, you're like, okay, this is happening. Like it's finally moving. I've got the right team with me. And then when it gets pulled out from under you, you're kind of like, oh, well, I guess we got to start again. Like, how do I find the right people to work with again? And yeah.
Like, tremendous amount of uncertainty, I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of that for sure.
Yeah. And so these skills that you were building up, you hadn't even at that point thought this could be like a secondary career. This was just like, you were just getting practice like with your own band and with other bands.
I would say that like, it was kind of a plan B. Once I started getting into it, I was like, okay, if the band thing doesn't work, I could always fall back on the recording side of things. And another big part of it for me too was that, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like there's a lot of impact that can be made through music. And for myself, like a big turning point in my life was that after one of my shows, I had these two fans come up to me and tell me that our band's music helped them choose to live. Like they were suicidal, and like
Wow.
that actually, like, our jokey songs that I never thought anything of ended up helping someone.
Wow.
And so to me, that like flipped a switch where I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is not just me having fun on stage anymore. Like these songs are actually helping people.
This music has meaning.
Yeah, it has meaning. And like still to this day, like I look at the songs, I'm like, how did that happen? You know? But it really made me realize that like I need to help people put out more music. I need to put out more music myself. And so when that last band ended, I thought, well, as a recording engineer, I can help more bands do the same thing. So how can I just do more of that, you know?
And so how did you start pursuing that career?
So the online side of things started with me. So just quickly for anyone listening to this who isn't familiar with the recording process, it's like you record, then you edit your music, then you mix it, then you master it.
And mixing it is like, talk to me a bit about that.
So like recording is taking all the different mics and recording all the individual instruments, and then you get it into the computer. Editing is like taking the best performances, putting it together. Mixing is taking like an individual kick drum, snare drum, guitar 1, guitar 2, vocals, like all these different elements, and kind of putting them together so that they work well as a song. And then mastering is that last step where you're adding a little bit of extra polish to the final mix and then getting it ready for distribution. So for me, when my roommate had told me, like, have you thought about doing this before? My mind went to, well, why don't I start off, I don't know if this blog thing is going to take off, so let's just start off a mastering website where I can sell my mastering services. And I'll have a blog where I help people mix their music. So that way they're getting the stage that I need them to be ready with as a mastering engineer.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm following you here. So the idea was, you're going to talk about for free on the blog about like mixing. And the goal is that that'll help people get to the point where then they'll need mastering services.
Exactly.
And then they would hire you to help master their tracks. Got it.
So I thought like if I can help people get their music prepared, then they're ready to hire me as a mastering engineer.
Got it.
And then the blog side ended up being the thing that took off. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I should lean into this a little bit more.
So, okay, when it took off, what do you mean by that? Like,
so I did have like, under the advice of my roommate, like I made a lead magnet to like a cheat sheet for like how to help finish your mixes. And like, I'd get like thousands of people downloading this.
Wow.
And so then I was like, okay, well, there's something here. And I'm not necessarily getting the mastering work I thought. I'm helping more people with the mixing side of things. So yeah, that just became like a thing where I was like, okay, well, how do I lean into this more? And so I started building online courses, and I thought that was the way to go. And with the course side of things, like I kind of got frustrated with the launching process, to be honest, where I felt like I'd spent a lot of time building a course, then figuring out my marketing materials, and then launching it, and hoping that the launch was big enough that I could basically sustain myself till the next launch.
Right.
And sometimes those launches didn't go as well as I thought. And I kind of just got frustrated, again, with that kind of like starting and stopping feeling of like, okay, things aren't moving the way I want them to happen.
Yeah.
And it was around that time that I heard you on a podcast. And so you were talking about how memberships could create recurring revenue and compounding revenue as well. And so that really clicked for me. Because then I was like, well, it doesn't have to be like this massive launch. I can start with just a few people and then grow it from there and like love on those people, make an awesome membership. And then the next time I promote it, maybe I add some more people. And so it kind of took like the fear out of launching because I didn't have that massive expectation anymore. It was just, start small and let it grow.
Hey, Mike's about to share his membership model. And this is the stuff that actually keeps people around for years. Now, if you're watching this on the go and you can't take notes, no worries. I put everything together from today in a free resource kit. It's all linked up in the description. So just follow along and grab the details later when you're ready. Okay, there's a bunch of things that I want to unpack here. First, you started getting traction on the blog. How are you getting traffic there?
I started just promoting it like on social platforms wherever I could. But then I just thought, before I invest a lot more time into making blogs, like, why don't I just run some ads and let's see if anyone even cares about this stuff. So I ran some Facebook ads, and then it was like before influencers were a thing on Instagram, but like I just found a couple of big Instagram profiles that had lots of followers. And I thought, like, why don't I just offer these people like $20 or $50 or whatever to make a post with my freebie? And that ended up being amazing.
Which is still a viable option.
It's
today.
still a very viable option. I think now there's a little bit more of like the influencer title. Like it's a bigger thing. But yeah, I was like just offering people like a little bit of money and make a post. And like it was getting like 7-cent leads or something like that.
Wow.
And so it just really like built up the mailing list very fast.
And this is a lesson though that I hope everybody takes away from this is that one, if you're just starting to grow your audience, one of the best things you can do is find people who already are in front of the people that you want to attract and borrow their influence. We have a whole like training that is called that, borrowed influence, because it is a super fast way. In this case, like, yeah, just reaching out and saying, hey, would you be open to mentioning this? I'll give you, $20, $50. I mean, today it might be a little bit more.
Of course, yeah.
But even still, there are many influencers that have audiences of all kinds of shapes and sizes that are already there and ready. It's just a matter of your willingness to reach out. And so when you would reach out, like what would you say?
I just would say like, hey, like I love your content. Like I've just been putting together this like little cheat sheet, and I think your audience is perfect for this. Like, would you just be open to making a post? And some people just do it for free too. Like some people are just like, yeah, we want more content. And so that's just it. Like I'd maybe offer a little bit of money and send them the links, and that was it.
And so there's gonna be people watching and listen to this, and they're gonna be like, come on, Mike. Is that easy?
So I think I spent like a week doing this, setting up my ads and then reaching out to people. And then I remember going on vacation with my wife, and the entire time we were gone, like my phone was just blowing up with like, you have a new subscriber, you have a new subscriber. And I was like, how is this, what's happening right now? Like, what's going on at home? I gotta be home. I gotta like make some stuff, right? So yeah, it surprised me that like it could catch on that fast.
What's interesting is I think so many people get in their head about like just taking that next step. You just shot out a couple messages,
yeah,
and all of a sudden like people are like, yeah, okay, and they start sharing it, and subscribers start coming onto your list.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, well now what? then it gets scary. But no, it was to me it was just like, well, let's make more of the same thing that's working.
Got it. Okay, so then this starts taking off. You start building your email list. The next step for you was to do courses. And so now you're starting to think, okay, like how can I begin monetizing this beyond the services? Like the initial goal was like, I'll just sell my services. But now it's like, hey, this thing's taken off. I got this audience. How could I serve them? And so your initial path was the course route.
Yeah. So for that, it was just like thinking about, well, as an audio engineer learning this stuff, like what were the things that I was struggling with, and like what tools were hard for me to understand, and can I make something based on that? And so that's what I started doing.
Gotcha. And so and then you started doing launches for that. So you would have like an opening and a close. Was it a live course or was it?
It was just pre-recorded.
Okay.
And so yeah, I would do that launch thing and try to. People would say launch every quarter or something like that. So every 3 months, something would come out. And I'm sure some people listening to this will relate to it. Like you see people online with all the success of like, I build courses and they sell thousands of copies and blah, blah, blah. And like, it didn't hit that big for me.
Right.
But having at least a couple people show interest got me started. And I was like, okay, like there's something here. I know like, there's people that are interested in this. So like, I just got to do more of it. I felt that connection. I felt like that impact piece was still there and I was helping people with it, but I wanted to figure out a way that it could be sustainable. And so once I got into the memberships, that's when it really helped. And like, I could just start small and grow that audience and grow the revenue and have it recurring. And
so out of context, what were you selling? What price point were you selling the courses for?
I think my first course I sold for $179.
Okay. And how many, was it like, 4 modules, 6 modules? What was it?
I think it was like 6 modules.
6 modules.
Yeah.
Got it. And so then that was a self-paced course. They would go through that by themselves.
Yeah. And I think that first launch I did, I sold like 4 copies.
Okay.
So it wasn't much, right?
Were you excited by that?
Of course, yeah. Like I remember Paul Austin, if you're watching this, like he was my first client ever, and
I love that you know
from the UK, and like it just like to this day he's still a student of mine. Like
that's awesome.
And it just blew my mind. Like somebody who I don't know is interested in this enough to believe in me and purchase my product. And so yeah, it just that was it. That was the spark I needed.
Gotcha. How long was it until you had that shift in excitement around it, where it was like, okay, this is good, but I am not liking this whole like, feast or famine model?
Honestly, I think it went way longer than it should have. I think it took like 2 or 3 years of trying to do this.
Okay, so you were doing like, 3-4 launches a year for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I was trying to do whatever I could. And then I'd be like, is it the course that sucks? Is that what's happening? Or is it my marketing? And so then I'd like build a new course. And like that I think was getting frustrating to me because I kept building all these different things and hoping that would be the thing that would change it. And then I realized like, Well, it needs to be one big system, and selling these individual courses wasn't really giving that full system.
And were they, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
were the courses like focused on a very specific topic?
Yeah, very specific topics, like various tools that most people would need. Like I think my first course for audio engineers, it was on compression, which is like this one tool that is very useful and you need it in your mixing, but it's also very hard to understand, hard to learn to train your ears to hear kind of tool.
I see.
So yeah, maybe it was a little too niche,
Yeah.
but and so yeah, I was building these like, kind of like little niche courses, and yeah, I just felt like I wasn't quite getting the system the way I needed it. But the idea of making a course that had the whole system felt very daunting to me.
I see.
And so when I learned about the membership side of things, that's when it clicked where I was like, wait a minute, I can almost like get paid to create the content
Yeah.
and like build this whole system out over time, and it wouldn't be as like big of a deal, you know?
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about the membership. You just said there, the mindset around content itself within the membership was different for you. Take us back to that point. You've made the shift. You're like, okay, I want to move to a membership. Where did you even begin?
Well, I had the idea of like what it could be, and I kind of just pitched it. I did the founding member launch and put it out to my list, and I did your course.
What was your list at that point?
At that point, I think it was like 6,000 people or something like that. So I just kind of put it out there and like, hey, like I'm thinking about building this thing, and this is how I see it evolving over time. Then like kind of just pitch it. And I think the first launch I did, I can't even remember how many I got. I think I got like 12 people. It still was pretty small.
So you had, so you just put the email out there that you were thinking about creating this thing. You hadn't created it yet.
No.
And so I'm thinking of creating this thing. If you're interested, hit reply, let me know.
Yeah. Doing that kind of gave me peace of mind too, knowing that I wasn't going to invest a ton of time building something without having sold it, like I had in the past with courses. And so, yeah, it was just like this idea of like, oh, I can get paid to make content. And if I have a small group of people, I can really get to know these people on a deeper level and know what they want.
Yeah.
And so that allowed me to just keep people in the membership because I was building what they needed.
Right.
So, as opposed to like what I thought they needed, So
Which often are two totally different things.
absolutely. I think people think they know what they need, and then as a coach, you know the real thing that they need.
Yeah.
And so I would try to infuse that a little bit, It just
Like
allowed
giving
me
your kids the choice between this veggie or that veggie.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just allowed me to build that content out slowly. And I think my first membership I had for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And that really helped build like the complete system that I finally wanted to get to,
Okay, so talk to me. How did you structure your content inside of that membership?
So with that membership, I did the first 2 weeks of the month, I would release a new video. Then I did a group call, and I did a mix review, like a public mix review where like my students can submit a track, and then I would dissect it and show what I would do to improve that.
Okay.
And so yeah, that was kind of like the weekly layout.
So that review, was that done live or was that
It was all pre-recorded.
all pre-recorded?
Yeah.
So would you be able to get out in front and batch a bunch of these? Or
Sometimes, yeah, I would get some students that I had a submission link so people could submit their tracks, and then I'd batch up a bunch of songs and just make a bunch of videos, and so that part I was able to batch for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And then the Q&As, that was live, I
Yep.
take it. Yeah. And then and how long were those? About an hour?
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah. So the video itself, that would be a specific.
Yeah, like here's one part of the process. Let's dig into that a little bit.
And how long would those be typically?
Anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes.
Okay. So like a 5-minute video, somebody's in the audience is gonna be like, 5-minute video. Mike, where's the value in a 5-minute video? But talk to me about that.
Well, sometimes that's all that there is. It's just okay, here's this tool that you need to know, and here's the parameters around it, and here's how to think about making the adjustments to that to get the sound that you hear in your head. And so with all my stuff, I try to streamline it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And no one wants to sit around for an hour watching videos that most of the stuff is irrelevant, right? So, yeah, I just thought let's make small videos, and yeah, sometimes there was a bigger topic and you dive a little deeper,
But I think that's a really important lesson for everybody, because oftentimes it's easy to think the more I give, the more value I create, but that's not always the case. Like, as you said, sometimes people just want to get in and get out. They just want to learn the thing and then go out and start practicing it. Taking a 5-minute video and turning it into a 30-minute video is wasting their time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just felt like if I'm rambling so much that I have an extra 25 minutes, what am I doing, right?
No, that's great. Okay, and then so every month there's the video, there's the group call, and there's the review. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
And so, yeah, I ran that membership for a few years and then decided to close it. I had a lot of members in there and it was great. I was hearing some stories of people having success with it, but I always felt like the review part of it was the thing that I really wanted to lean into. And also the thing that I found was happening was that I'd leave a review, people would do it, and sometimes they would implement it wrong. Sometimes they would uncover new problems. And so there was always this kind of like, what now? Like, how do I help that person even further, right? And so I decided to close that membership down and build like this coaching membership where my thought was, I'm gonna charge a lot more money for it. I'll have way fewer students. And with this program now, they have access to all the content that I build, so all my step-by-step tutorials and stuff. But now we just have like a one-on-one chat between myself and all the students, and they can reach out to me daily. And so at any point in the process, as they're working on things, they can reach out to me with questions or ask for my feedback. They can send me their recordings. I'll make them like a little Loom video and like walking through what I would do. And we can go back and forth until the songs are done. And I just felt like that was a better way for me to love on the students and just like help them get it done and like go through all the troubleshooting together.
And so do you share those Loom videos with everybody?
Just one-on-one right now.
Just one-on-one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I felt too, like when I did the public group review, I felt some people were a little shy to put their like raw track in there. And so I kind of thought, well, why don't I just make that a little bit more private and help people out on that basis?
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like, yeah, I get to help so many more people like get their stuff done. And also, because we're going back and forth, like I get a little bit more input. Like, let's try this thing. It might not be the right move. Let's try it. You know, like that's what we would do in the studio.
Yeah.
So it just allowed me to help people at a much, much deeper level.
Talk to me, the price point for your first membership was what?
It started at $12.99, I think, and then it went up to $49.
Okay.
And then my new membership is $197.
Got it. So that's a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
And so that's $197 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of people are typically in the new coaching membership?
So now it's people that are ready. It's not people that are just like wanting to dabble and learn the content. It's like people who are committed to actually getting their music done. It's people that are actually consuming the content a lot more because they're ready. They're making it happen. And when they have a coach, they also feel like a piece of accountability to it as well, which is really good. Some people want to just release a single. Some people want to do a full album. It's kind of all over the place.
And they reach out at, whenever they have questions. Is there any structured times, or is it just like whenever you're kind of like...
I'm all open. And to be honest, like that was one of the things that kind of held me back from starting this membership was that I thought I'm going to be overwhelmed and I'm going to have too many people in there and it's just going to be like, they're going to hound me all the time. But then once I started, I realized like, number one, it wasn't as much work as I thought. Some people, it's not like people are working on it every day.
Yeah.
Some people are just reaching out once a month, and some people do reach out every day, and that's fine. But it's only really like an hour a day that I'm like doing reviews for people.
Gotcha.
And the other part of it too was that I thought, well, if it gets out of hand, I can always cap it and say that I can only have 20 people in the membership or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I could hire a coach to help me do the same thing. And so I've even had I have a podcast where I interview a lot of big engineers as well. And I've even had a bunch of them say like, hey, if you ever need a coach in your membership, like, let me know. There's that possibility if I really wanted to get there.
You've already seen past to be able to scale it beyond just yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. So you answered one of the questions that I know would probably be a concern, which is like, oh my gosh, Mike, you're making yourself available. You're going to get like bombarded and you're going to be on call. That sounds horrible. Yeah. But what you're saying is like, actually, most people aren't reaching out every single day. It's usually, whenever they need it, once a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not been a big deal for you.
It hasn't been a big deal at all. And we just have a mobile app as well. So sometimes I'm just like out of the store or something. Someone messages me a quick question. I get back to them right away. It's not like I'm always on call necessarily. I always tell people give me a day or two and I'll make you a detailed review. I like the flexibility of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. When you decided to make that transition from one membership to the other, one of the things that I heard was that there was a piece of the first membership that you're like, this is really fun. Like, this is really good. I want to do more of this. And I think that there's a lesson there for everybody because you probably wouldn't have discovered that had you not done the first membership in and of itself. And in that is where you learn so much about how to best serve people, how to help people, like you were saying, the things that you enjoy. And so I'm wondering if you can kind of speak to that, because what I know to be true is a lot of people get caught up overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to make things perfect before they even start. And so what I hear is that a lot of this was experimentation right from the get-go, figuring stuff out, and then it's just noticing what's working.
Yeah, I mean, that first membership that I had, I kind of got burnt out by the content side of it, to be honest. Even though I knew that was a big part of what I needed to get done, I felt like as much as I could try to batch things, I would, but then I'd forget about it for a little bit, and then I'd be like kind of catching up. You know, it was that part of it kind of wore down on me. So then when I started the new membership, it was like, well, I have all this content already, so let's just reuse that. And then like, let's just focus more on like the stuff that doesn't require me preparing a whole bunch of stuff and making lesson plans and all that. So it kind of made things easier.
Yeah. And I think there's value there, like for everybody watching and listening. Like oftentimes we think because it's easy, then it's not as valuable. But what I hear you saying is like, look, what I realize is it was easy for me and it's valuable for them. Like that's the perfect mix.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like I love doing all the group call stuff. I love interacting with people. That's one of the reasons why I really love this membership now is like I can keep it small and I get to know people on a one-on-one basis as opposed to trying to make content that appeals to like a bigger group of people and hoping that somebody implements things, right? No, it's like now I get to like actually focus on those people and learn more about how they're doing things and coach them through the things that they need to know as opposed to like, yeah, just here's a bunch of content and figure it out, you know?
So let me shift gears and talk to you about how you're marketing this. I heard you say you got a podcast. Is that one of the methods in which you're using to, begin attracting people?
Yeah, so I run a podcast. It's called the Master Your Mix podcast. And I mean, right now we're getting like 15,000 downloads a month or something.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
Thank you. And so on that podcast, I'm interviewing a lot of bigger engineers. So it's somewhat of the borrowed influence kind of thing where, bringing people that have their established audience that want to learn about that engineer. And then I'm running ads as well too. So just trying to get as many people to check it out as possible, but also keeping it small. Like it's not an open to everyone membership. I make sure that the people that are in the membership are the right fit and that I truly believe I can help them.
How are you doing that? Do you have like an application?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're driving people to an application and that's where you're then vetting to see if they'd be a good fit.
Yeah, I'm vetting them and then we typically hop on a call.
Yeah.
And the call just basically allows me to learn more about that person's process and spot the gaps to kind of come up with a game plan of like how I would approach it if we were working together.
And then I guess it's also a great opportunity, like if they're a good fit, to be like, okay, hey, actually based on our conversation, you should go check out this, and this within the membership because it sounds like that'd be helpful to you right away.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely like gives that like kind of success path assessment a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
And the other thing too that I tend to do is I do have like a more higher tier, like $5,000 coaching program.
Yeah.
And so on those calls, it kind of lets me assess whether the person's better for that or the membership. So the membership kind of acts as a downsell, but it also kind of acts as a continuation for the people that do the bigger coaching program as well.
So what would be the difference between those two?
So the big coaching program, that one I'm literally hopping on one-on-one calls with everyone every week. And so that's way more in depth. Like we're opening up sessions together. I'm mixing their tracks with them online. So it's more about
more like a done with you type
Yeah,
deal.
exactly. Yeah.
So the membership, as you said, that's perfectly positioned. If the high coaching program is $5,000 and that's a done with you, the membership is a great secondary option for people that just want to get questions answered here and there.
Exactly.
May not necessarily want you to be like in doing the mixing yourself, but there's comfort in knowing that you're available.
For sure, yeah. It offers like a little bit more flexibility from a time commitment standpoint for them too, because they're not bound to a weekly call or something like that. And some people are also just at a point where they know the process really well, and so they don't need me to walk them through that in the bigger program. They just need some reassurance that what they're doing is correct.
Right.
I think that was another big issue that I found with my audience was that there's so many people working on music in isolation, and sure, they can like show their wives and girlfriends or friends or whatever like their songs and say, hey, what do you think about this? But a lot of people don't have someone with technical experience to be able to actually give them the actionable feedback they need.
Right.
So like a lot of people just be like, yeah, that sounds great. But like as an audio engineer, I can be like, oh, okay, well, you need to like boost 60 hertz in the kick drum, like, so like I get deeper into the weeds with that kind of stuff. So this just allows people to actually get the refinement part of it down. Again, help people at a deeper level.
I think there's value there for everybody watching and listening because many times their audience, they are just looking for that reassurance. And it doesn't take much, but as you said, a lot of people, regardless that you're in the music industry, whatever industry, when you're learning something, it generally tends to be a lonely endeavor.
For sure.
You're trying to figure it all out. And there's never that like, well, I think I'm going in the right direction, but it's way more reassuring to say, no, you're definitely going in the right direction. Yeah. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah. I've had lots of people that are like, really, this is good? I'm like, yeah, it's good. Like, so like, whereas people, if they were working on their own, they would just like start like circling and like putting more work into that they needed and end up like going backwards,
Or second guessing themselves.
Yeah, second guessing themselves. That's such a big part of it. And so sometimes they just need someone to be like, yeah, you're good, and I like that. There's value in that, knowing when to stop.
I'm just imagining somebody watching and listening, though, again, coming back and fighting against themselves, saying it can't be this simple. Like, people are really paying for that, and what I want to say to everybody is like, it can be that simple.
Of course,
like it 100% can be, because again, the thing that's holding people back is that they're second guessing themselves. They don't have the confidence in what they're producing. And so to have somebody come alongside them who's got experience and has been there before, and to say, no, you're good. Keep going. Yeah. Keep moving forward. Actually, try thinking about this or try thinking about that. And so I think that more than anything, having that experienced advice is very valuable for people. And often the person who has the wisdom and experience way undervalues that experience and that wisdom and thinks that it's got to be a lot more complicated than it really is.
For sure. Yeah, I've had students that have reached out to me saying like, oh, I've been working on this record for like 5 years or whatever, and they just haven't got themselves to that point where they feel happy with it. And literally, I can think of one student who, like, same thing. It was like, I've been working on this for 3 years, haven't been happy with it, kind of feel like I've hit a plateau. And I just listened to it and I was like, hey, well, what do you want it to sound like? And he gave me some examples. And I was like, oh, what they're doing is like, they're recording their guitars this specific way, this specific technique. And he had never done that before. And so he tried it and he's like, oh my God. Like, and like literally within like a month, he had finished his record.
Wow.
Like, all 10 songs, he re-recorded and like it sounded great all of a sudden. Just one tweak, right? But a lot of people, again, if they're in isolation, will never learn that, right?
Right.
So sometimes just having that experienced person to help you and show you what you need is it's so valuable to them, right?
So what's next for you? Like, what are you planning as you continue to work with your coaching membership?
So depending on when this comes out, I'm actually going to be launching kind of a secondary business. It's a audio plugin company. It's like a software company, which are just basically like virtual tools that audio engineers would use. And so I'm going to be hopefully implementing that into the membership side of things very soon to just like streamline people's process and give them tools that are going to get better sounds faster and just be more intuitive and not necessarily like super technical like a lot of these other tools are out there.
Just make it easy.
Yeah, just make it easier.
Yeah. I think there's a lesson there, which is like, hey, how can we eliminate the friction? How can we shorten the timeline to get them to the finish line?
Exactly. Like in my experience of coaching people, I've seen like, oh, these people struggle with the tools that they have available to them. So how do I just make it work,
And so how did you go about thinking about these tools?
It was something that I had always thought about. Like I've seen a lot of other companies trying to do it. And from the coding side of things, I never really understood how to do any of that. And I don't care to know about that.
Yeah.
But I recently discovered this like no code platform that allowed me to just like dial in the sounds that I wanted. And they took care of all the coding side on the back. So it was kind of like a development team that had built this new system. I think it's like the first in the world that's doing this. So it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, just been leaning all in on that and using their help and just trying to get it going. Yeah.
And so will you open that up to people outside of the membership?
Oh yeah, it's going to be like a whole other business that can operate on its own, but I want to make sure that my members are getting those tools as well.
Yeah. What a great added benefit for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And from a marketing perspective, what has worked well for you in terms of growing this membership?
I mean, for me, it's as far as the membership goes, it's just been creating more content for people. Like my podcast has been the regular thing. Every week it's coming out and promoting it on there, sending content through my email list, like always trying to provide value to people. That's the easiest way for people to feel connection to you. And so because I want to create that connection, I want to make sure I'm attracting the right person. So if they know me and what I do and how I teach and all that stuff, then they're going to be a good fit in the membership.
That's awesome. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you faced in growing this membership?
I think just my own thoughts, just feeling like, again, like thinking that it was going to be overwhelming. That was the biggest one for me. It's just like, it sounds kind of weird to say, but it's like almost a fear of success.
Yeah.
It's a super weird thing to think about.
What if I get too many members? It's going to
I think that was it. It was like, I just would go into things thinking like, well, if it's big, then I need to have this system set up and like, just like overcomplicating things, thinking too far in advance. So that's been a thing that I catch myself slowing myself down that way. So I'm just trying to like let go of that,
Yeah. Well, it is a really fascinating thing where it's very easy for the mind to spiral. and thinking about the problems before they're problems. And, you know, in the beginning, when you launched your first membership, super scrappy. It's just like, hey, let's float this idea out. And if people show interest, then we'll start creating it. And that's what happened. But then once you get into it, then it's very easy to like, you know, create this pressure on yourself and start overthinking and start, you know, doing way too much, and it holds you back.
Yeah. And I'm like, being a techie guy myself, like I love the new tools that come out, and like you find out about this, you know, this website that does this and that, and I'm thinking like, how do I combine all these things, and like just way overcomplicating things, right? So yeah, sometimes just like start simple, you know.
Have you found any particular things that have really helped you from a retention side and keeping your members happy and paying?
I think just because I'm working with people on a one-on-one basis, that in itself is a really big thing. That's one of the biggest things that's kept people in the membership, because I'm creating relationships with these people,
Right?
and I'm really leaning into their success, as opposed to like a lot of other programs out there where they sign up, they learn the content, and then no one's there to support them. So I think that's been one of the biggest drivers, just like really building those relationships with people. I've had some members that have stayed in the membership and not put out any music in years, you know, like, but they love being in the membership because it gives them a place of community. They have someone that they can reach out to if they have questions. I actually received an email from one of my students. His wife reached out to me randomly, and she reached out saying like, thank you so much for having this membership. Like my husband, like it brings him so much joy. And he was like this retired vet that had disabilities and was suffering from like depression and PTSD and all this stuff. And like, he's been in the membership forever, puts out maybe a song a year.
Wow.
But like for him, it's just like, he loves having that sense of community. Like, so we do have group calls, so he can connect with other people in the group as well. And anytime there's just any questions, or if he just wants to talk about like the new guitar he bought, I'm there for him, you know? Like,
Yeah.
So people like that would leave in a normal membership. But I think because we've just created this connection and relationship, people want to stick around.
So I want to talk about this because community is so valuable and important. I think even more so today than it ever has been, because, you know, it is a very divisive world out there. And when you find a group of people who love and are passionate about the same things as you are, it's like a magnet. It just draws people in. And this is a perfect example. Like this guy's like, I'm just into this stuff, and it's amazing to be able to like jam with people who get it and understand it. So talk to me a little bit about the community. How is that like a free flowing discussion area?
Yeah. So what we also do in the membership is every month I have like a skill testing challenge kind of thing. And it could be something as simple as just like, here's some tracks to work with and like do this thing. And then we hop on a group call every month, and we typically go through the challenge. But then it's like a free form like Q&A style thing. What are you working on? Like, what are you struggling with? And like just opening up to everyone. And I don't always like to be like the expert in the group. Like I like to refer to other people and like, what's your opinion on this, right? Like I might be wrong sometimes, you know? So
Yeah.
I try to open up to everyone so that everyone can get to know each other and hear each other's advice. And I just think that helps to connect people more. And also too, like most musicians only play one instrument. So it's very common that I'll be like, oh, so-and-so plays drums and has a good setup at home. So like, why don't you reach out to them?
You guys should connect.
Yeah, maybe they can connect. So I've had a lot of people connect and play on each other's stuff. So it just makes it really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. And then I would imagine you're getting a lot of ideas for content from both your coaching call discussions as well as questions that are being asked in the community.
For sure. Yeah. It definitely informs a lot of like seeing the trends, sometimes like my students are telling me about these new tools that are coming out that they're learning about. And I'm like, okay, now I got to learn about that. And so then we can dive deeper into those topics. I mean, my podcast, like that's been the main content thing lately. And that's more interview style. But even then, I now know what kind of questions people are asking me, so I can tailor those questions to other people as well and get their opinions on it. Because I do think as an audio engineer, it's like, it's good to learn from different experiences, different opinions. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I have the podcast too.
Okay, so moving forward, what advice would you give for people who have an area of expertise and maybe sitting on it to be able to turn that into a viable business?
Just do it. Like that's honestly all you can do. I think anyone who's invested in like a skill or a hobby, like you want to do more of it. So like, why not get paid to do it? You know, like have fun with it, right? And I think just starting is the biggest thing, and maybe it works right away, and that's great. Maybe it doesn't, and you can learn from that. But I mean, that was my case. It just was a lot of lessons learned along the way, and I was having fun doing it. So yeah, just get started.
Amazing. What's been your favorite moment when it comes to running your business?
Lots of things there. I mean, I just love listening to music. You know, like it's as simple as that.
You getting paid to listen to music,
I'm
man.
paid to listen to music all day and play with my toys and like, you know, like it's as simple as that. Like that's when I like back in the day when I had a day job, I would come home and do this. You know, like that was the thing I would do all night because it was fun to me. So now I get to do it all day and get paid for it. So yeah, to me that's just the thing that lights me up. And
Yeah, who would have thought, eh? Like, you know, even 10, 15 years ago, like for this to even be an option. But I always say, it's just an amazing world that we live in, that we can be able to do this, connect with people worldwide. Like you were saying, your first customer's over in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, to me, what a great time to live in, you know, to be able to have these options available to us.
yeah, it's awesome. Right? And thank you for all of your advice and stuff along the way. Like honestly, it's been a big game changer for me in the way I approach things and run my business. So yeah, thank you.
Well, Mike, where can people go to connect and find out more?
So yeah, if anyone's interested in what I do is masteryourmix.com is the main website. And if anyone's interested in the coaching program specifically, masteryourmix.com/amplitude.
Got it.
Would be the right link. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, if you've built an audience, but turning that audience into consistent income still feels confusing or inconsistent, then you need to join us for the Audience to Income Summit. It's a live virtual event and it's totally free, happening April 8th through the 10th. And we're bringing in top creators like Russell Brunson, Amy Porterfield, Jeff Walker, and more than 20 others who are sharing exactly what's working right now to get discovered, get paid, and to keep getting paid. Now, this is no fluff, just real strategies. So grab your seat for free at membership.io/summit. The link is also in the description. I'll see you there. That was Mike Indovina. He started with a passion, turned it into a membership, and now he gets paid to listen to music all day. What's the skill that you're sitting on? If this got you thinking, hit subscribe because we got new episodes coming every week. And if you want to find out more about Mike, well, I put together a free resource kit with all his links, today's show notes, and a guide to building a membership people actually stay in. Just scan the QR code or grab the link in the description. Next week, we've got Eileen Wilder. 20 years as a pastor. Then she discovered offers and made her first pitch and walked away with $108,000 in a single day. We're talking about her Hell to Heaven framework that releases desire. You do not want to miss this if you sell anything. I can't wait to see you next week.